Hey guys, welcome back to Storytime with YDRC. Today, we're going to be continuing to read Klawde, the Space Dog Cometh. We're going to read, last time we left off on chapter 54, so that's where we're going to start off for today. As always, before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's it. So let's get started. Chapter 54. I could not believe how poorly my return to Litterbox had gone. After being dragged from my spaceship, hauled to the top of the Imperial Palace, and forced to bow down before my two nemesis, I had used the customary last phone call to contact the boy ogre. A curious choice, I know. That done, only one task remained for me in this life, to face execution more bravely than any feline ever had. I turned in the direction of my two tormentors and spat. "Meow, meow, meow," said the calico tyrant. "Meow." Fang arched his back and sighed. "What I believe the queen is trying to say is, you, Wizcuz the Terrible, friend to ogres and apologist to dogs, are about to take your final nap. Do you have any last words?" I stood on the very tips of my claws. My tail was as proud as a flag. "It is with great joy that I will meet the ancient masters of Jiu-Jitsu on the other side of the 87 moons," I roared to the mob. "May the name Wizcuz forever be an inspiration to every defenseless kitten who dares to dream of one day becoming a cruel and merciless tyrant." But then, at the very apex of my oration, with the crowd transfixed, a red flash lit the sky, and I found myself being sucked upward by a powerful tractor beam. My enemies stared up at me in shock. The small spacecraft, hovering high above the palace, was rescuing me. Ha! I knew it could never end this way. Of course the loyalists would save me. They were more loyal than anyone could have imagined. Oh, righteous joy! Together we would make the calico pay for her treachery. And Fang. And the entire worthless mob. "I will be back," I howled down to my enemies, growing smaller and smaller below me. Bringing with me the power and rage of a thousand supernovas. With that, I was sucked into the sleek rescue craft, and the hatch closed beneath me. I looked about the interior of the ship. The sophistication and technology were unparalleled. If the Loyalists had more ships like this, we would be invincible. The pilot, my rescuer, was seated in the captain's chair, and had not yet faced me. "Your timing is impeccable, fellow warrior," I said. "Turn around so I can thank you properly." "Don't mention it, Chief. I'm glad to help." The chair rotated toward me, and my jaw fell open. It was Barks. No! Chapter 55. The abomination, the infamy, the appalling indignity of Klawde coughed up the most massive hairball I'd ever seen, right into my mom's potted parsley plant. "Of being rescued by a dog." The three of us were in the backyard, and Barks' spaceship was once again parked under a rosebush. Klawde, who'd started ranting the moment the hatch opened, had hardly stopped for a breath since. "I will never live this down, not in 9,000 lives." Even for Klawde, this seemed like a bit of an overreaction. "Geez," I said, "would you have rather died?" Klawde looked at me like I was insane. "Of course I would have," he said. "I would rather be impaled 100 times and die an honorable death than get saved by a slobbering canine." He pinned his ears back. "Especially this slobbering canine. Well, Claude, Bark said, you're welcome anyway. And now it's time for me to go. But don't worry, guys. Somehow we'll meet again. Get it? Somehow. I knew this moment had to come, but I got a lump in my throat just the same. I'll really miss you, Barks, I said. I reached out and patted his soft yellow head. You are a really, really good boy. Barks held up his paw for me to shake. So were you. Chapter 56. There were not enough hairballs in the universe to express my feelings of revulsion at this grotesque display of sentimentality. The eyes of the human began to leak, and he said in a choking voice, I'll never forget you, do-good Space Ranger dog. Nor I, you beautiful human ball-throwing boy, Bark sniffed, as we watched his ship depart in a red flash. So much less attractive than the feline green, I could think of at least one good thing about Earth. It had one less canine on it. Don't worry, Claude, the human said, wiping his eyes. We'll be okay. Even though you'll never say it, I know how much you'll miss Barks. Hiss! Ow! The boy ogre yelped. Hey, Claude, that's real blood there. A second good thing about Earth, easily wounded humans. Chapter 57. When my parents got home a few days later, life returned to normal, except for the fact that everyone at school kept asking me when my grandma was going to throw another awesome party. That felt sort of weird. Nice, but still weird. My mom was tanned and relaxed, and suddenly she could speak Japanese. My dad, on the other hand, was exactly the same, except for being actually paler than usual. Wow, Raj, he said, flopping down into his recliner. Those periodontists are a total party animals. I need a few days of vacation just to recover. My mom rolled her eyes. They hung out all day in the pool. Not in the pool, mind you, but around it, on deck chairs. Did I mention this was the indoor pool? Dad handed me a sloppily wrapped present. This is for you, Raj. I opened it and unfolded a t-shirt. It had a really bad drawing of Luke Skywalker holding a dental drill. May the floss be with you, it read. I got you one because you always say how much you like my cool dentist t-shirts. Apparently Earth fathers weren't much better than space dogs when it came to picking up on sarcasm. Thanks, Dad, I said. It's super cool. Aji put an arm around my mom's shoulders. We had a lovely time while you were gone, she said, though I wish you could have met that nice dog, Roscoe. I'd told Aji that his owners had finally seen the posters we'd put up and had come to get him, and she believed me. Why wouldn't she? Mom looked around. Wait, speaking of dogs, where's Woofles? Shouldn't he be barking his head off at Klawde? Aji grinned. Oh, that's the best part. Woofles has found his forever home, right across the street. Well, that seems like a happy ending, Mom said. Aji gave me a big hug. Raj, my dear Mamaga, I loved spending time with you. I hope you have learned your lesson about using fresh spices. Perhaps you can teach your mother too. I heard that, Emma, Mom said. Then she laughed. I nodded. Thanks for everything, Aji. She bent down to Klawde. I left some paneer for you, naughty kitty. Don't forget your Aji now. Klawde did that twirl thing around her shins, which was as sweet a thing as I'd ever seen him do. Then he went and threw up in Dad's shoe. Seriously, Klawde? My dad shouted. He's just glad you're home, I said. and Klawde gave a mighty hiss. The end of Klawde the Space Dog Cometh. Alright guys, so we still have plenty of time for today, so we're going to be starting up with the next Klawde book. Klawde Evil Alien Warlord Cat Target Earth. The fourth and final book in the series for now. So, let's get started. Chapter 0. Perched upon the dining table, I gazed out over a scene of destruction. I had shredded a pillow, mutilated a houseplant, and toppled every vase I could find. Usually, such random acts of violence did much to improve my mood. Today, however, they did nothing to curb my rage. Though I had suffered endless humiliations from the moment I set paw on this miserable planet, nothing, not living with the ogres, having to lick my own fur, or being repeatedly betrayed by my enemies, could compare to the news I had received 3 moonrises ago. On my home planet, I was being called Whiz-Cuz the dog lover. Hiss. I was about to do something truly terrible when the communicator rang. I raced down to the bunker. My minion, Floofy Fear, was calling. Tell me quickly, I said. Have you yet convinced the felines of Litterbox that I am not friends with that despicable space mutt? Well, not really, Supreme Leader. Does this mean that they are still calling me Whiz-Cuz the dog lover? Oh, no, Floofy said, brightening. They're not calling you that anymore. My rage softened. My hope soared. Finally, the mood of the mob had turned. They're more calling you, Floofy paused. Well, now they're calling you Whiz-Cuz the butt sniffer. It took all my training, all the discipline in my warrior soul, not to begin a new rampage of destruction. My claws pulsed with the urge to wreak havoc. I had not felt fury like this in at least 5 minutes. Floofy blinked stupidly at me. What? I roared. Why are you looking at me like that? I was just wondering, he said. Is it true? Is what true? Have you ever sniffed a dog's butt? Hiss! Or Flabby's butt? I hung up on the infuriating fool and went upstairs to take a focus nap. Upon reaching this state of higher feline consciousness, certain facts became clear to me. My current reputation made the reconquest of Litterbox impossible at present. But in the meantime, it was crucial that I keep my conquesting skills sharp. If I didn't, what would Generalissima Zoc say at the next meeting of the Allied Warlords of Evil Club? It was imperative that I vanquish a planet, any planet, no matter how vile or backward it might be. This naturally led me to think of Earth. Chapter 1. Klawde! I yelled as I came inside and dropped my backpack in the hall. Where are you? There was no answer, so I grabbed a handful of potato chips and went upstairs. He was asleep on my pillow, and considering the mood he'd been in lately, I decided not to wake him. Besides, I could hardly wait to open my computer and get online, because today was the day the new Vision Quest Ultra was being released. The V2 Ultra was the best virtual reality headset money could buy. It was insanely light, wireless, and it came with 6 motion sensors that tracked your every move. It even had a connected drone, which you could control with the headset. I had to buy the VQ Ultra. The only problem was how much it cost. It was $1,286, and that was just for the headset. With all the cool accessories, it cost twice as much. How would I ever come up with that kind of money? My allowance was $10 a week, and that was only if I actually did all of my chores. I tortured myself watching launch videos of the VQ Ultra until my computer crashed. I rebooted it, and 5 minutes later, the stupid thing crashed again. It was Mom's old laptop from before I was born, and it barely worked for anything but email. Luckily, I had a cat who could help fix it. Hey, Claude? No. Come on, Claude, please? He growled at me. I am exceedingly busy. Busy? You've been sleeping this whole time. Incorrect. I was engaged in a focus nap, followed by a strategy nap. 2 of them, 9 fundamental nap states. Please, I begged him. My computer keeps crashing. Claude flicked his tail. Ask in the proper manner. I sighed. I hated when he made me do this. Oh, all-powerful Lord and Master, can you please assist a lowly, furless, pathetic human and fix this computer? That was better, he said. Let me consider it. No. Chapter 2. Earth was hardly worth conquering, of course, as it was small, teeming with ogres, and in a particularly unattractive corner of the universe. This was why none of the other members of the allied warlords of evil had bothered to vanquish it. Still, I needed something to occupy my time between naps. As I pondered how to crush Earth, however, certain problems presented themselves. Most significantly, no matter how feeble the human mind might be, the human body was immensely strong. Since these ogres could not be subjugated by brute force, I would need to use my superior feline brain. As the ancients say, 'tis not the sharp claw, but the sharp mind that makes the victor. I was considering my options when the boy human interrupted me with his latest complaint about his internet access device. He wanted me to repair it, but its technology was almost incomprehensibly crude. He might as well hand me 2 sticks and expect me to create nuclear fusion. For what pointless human purpose do you need this machine? He explained that he wanted to watch videos of something called the Vision Quest Ultra. Placed upon one's head, he informed me this instrument allowed its wearer to see, hear, and act in any environment that could be imagined. They call it virtual reality, he said, and I want it. Well, of course you would want to escape your reality, I said. He failed to understand my biting wit. It's like you're in a different world, in someone else's body, he said, and you're controlling everything they do. My whiskers twitched. Controlling them, you say? The boy then brought out his phone so that we could watch a video advertising the device. As the capacity of this wearable technology became clear, my fur began to stand on an end. Could this cumbersome human gadget be repurposed for my own ends? It was extremely primitive, of course, and yet it was not unlike the devices we used to manage our worker robots back on Litterbox. Then it struck me. The Zombeam, my most brilliant creation. If I paired this human apparatus with the Zombeam's mind-controlling silo waves, this pathetic planet would be mine for the taking. Ogre, let's get this device, I said, right now. Chapter 3. I had to explain to Claude that getting the VQ Ultra wasn't that simple. What do you mean? He said. Just go to the virtual reality store and seize it. First of all, there is no virtual reality store, I said. And second of all, even if there was, we couldn't just take it. Claude's tail swished. But that is how one gets things, by taking them from others. Maybe on Litterbox, I said. But here on Earth, if you want something, you have to pay for it. Ogre, it is only my enemies who must pay. I'm not talking about revenge, Claude, I said. I'm talking about money. Money, Claude spat. What is this money you ogres endlessly babble on about anyway? I didn't really know how to explain money to a cat, even one who was smarter than me. It's sort of like trading, I said. Sometimes I trade old comics with friends. But if I want a new comic, I have to go to a store and give them money. So basically I trade money for the comic. Ah, so this money is of high value, Claude said. Is it delicious food? Exotic feathers? A paw-held particle accelerator? No, I said, pulling a crumpled dollar bill out of my pocket. It's this. Chapter 4. The concept of trading I understood, as it is practiced in all the inhabited galaxies. But everywhere else, one trades items of equal value. Say, a Torgrassian torpedo for an exuviating robot. Or, as in the case of the squirrel mercenaries of the planet Wood, nuts for their military service. But money? What was it? The boy ogre reached into one of the storage pouches located in his leg coverings and pulled out a small piece of paper. This is $1. I had seen these green rectangles covered with crude human scribblings before. Naturally, I had assumed they were portraits of particularly ugly relatives of theirs. But they were for trade? For payment? It's just paper, I said. It is worthless. Well, it's not worthless to humans, because we all want it. He held up more of these green rectangles with ancient ogres on them. If you took all these to the grocery store, you could buy a pound of butter and a carton of milk. If you had 1,286 of them, you could buy a VQ Ultra. So, let me see if I have this correct. These dollars are abstract credits that humans trade with one another because you simply agree that they are worth something? Pretty much, yeah. A system based on trust? No wonder we did not use dollars on Litterbox. Is money the only thing we can use to purchase the technology? It's the only way to get pretty much anything. Although the very notion of these dollars disgusted me, this VQ could well be the missing piece to my zombie, the prototype which remained buried in my Litterbox command center. If I could link the headset controller, the flying drone, and the Zombeam's mind-controlling rays, I could strike any target I chose from the comfort of my own bunker. Fine, ogre, I said. Tell me how we acquire the dollars we need. Well, the very best way of getting money, the boy ogre said, is to get your parents to give you some. Chapter 5. Absolutely not, Mom said. You just had a birthday. I'll pay you back, I said. I swear. You'll pay me back over $1,200? Mom crossed her arms. How? I didn't have an answer to that question. Sit down, Raj, she said. I think we should have a little talk. Ugh, I hated Mom's talks. Money, Raj, Mom said, is something that we earn. After that, my ears pretty much shut off. She was saying something about how a penny saved is a penny earned, which makes no sense, when Dad walked into the kitchen. "You need a little extra money, son? You could do some extra chores," he said. "Like make me a peanut butter and banana sandwich." Mom and Dad both rolled their eyes. "With the way you guys pay me for chores, I'll be ancient by the time I make enough to buy the VQ, I said. "Like your age." "Well, I know one way you can make money, and it's not even a chore," Mom said. "Have a yard sale. We've only lived in this house a few months, but somehow it's already completely filled with junk." She glared at Dad. "We haven't even unpacked everything yet," he said. "If you haven't needed it by now, Krish," Mom said, "then you don't need it at all." "But somewhere in one of those boxes is my handheld battery-operated milk frother. I bought it when I was in dental school, and I still haven't had the chance to use it." "Which only proves my point," Mom said. But I need it for when I open my Italian-style cafe," he said. "Krish's coffee." Mom turned to me. "Raj, if it's in a moving box, you can sell it." Chapter 6. On what the humans call Saturday, the boy ogre began to lay out items on a large table in the driveway. I was pleased to see how much he was finding to sell. However worthless these articles would seem to any other sensible being in the universe, surely other ogres would pay many dollars for them. And then we would possess vast riches. "Let us also get rid of that hideous rose sculpture," I said, as I watched him attach tiny pieces of sticky paper, price tags, he called them, to the objects. "You mean the scratching post Dad bought you?" "It is useless to me," I said. "I prefer his shins." The boy ogre next went to a corner of the garage where dozens of cardboard boxes were stacked. "Ah, a fine idea for making dollars," I said. "These sleeping chambers must be worth a fortune." As far as I was concerned, they were the only thing of value in this barbarian wasteland. "Not so much," he said. "It's the stuff inside them that might be worth something." The boy ogre gazed into one, and an especially pitiful look came over his face. "Brownie," he said. The boy ogre held up what appeared to be a small species of bear, the likes of which I had never seen before. I sank into defensive crouch. Had the beast been hibernating? Was it still alive? It was not. But perhaps it once had been, and the humans had preserved its body. "It's my old teddy bear," the boy ogre said. He reached into the box again. "And here's the monkey I got for my 6th birthday, and the penguin I won at the fair." Here was yet another bizarre human quirk. Certainly no feline kept boxes of stuffed ogres around. Then again, I could not understand why humans would want to possess models of their superiors. These animals, do they have a high value? "They do," the boy ogre said. "Sentimental value." "This sentimental value, it means we will acquire additional dollars?" "No," the boy ogre said, staring into the plastic eyes of his bear. "It means it is worth more to me than anyone else. Isn't that right, Brownie?" I slashed the bear out of his hands. "Sell it!" The sooner I accumulated this human money, the sooner I could purchase the technology I needed to repurpose my zombie into a weapon of awesome power, and commence my conquest of this sorry excuse for a plan. Chapter 7. So this is where we're going to end off for today. right at the beginning of Chapter 7. So don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Klawde Target Earth, the 4th book in the series. That's it for today. Bye, guys.